Hello, I'm continuing the review on the Dreadknight codex, and this time I would like to review one of the most popular choices, the Dreadknight. And here you can see the different configurations I will take into account and the reason why. So I will have a configuration with the silencer and another one with the C cannon, because I want to compare how the silencer is working against the C cannon. We have to take into account that here we have the Gatling silencer and the heavy C cannon. I will also compare them to the option of having both, because remember that this is a monstrous creature, so he can shoot two weapons per turn, so can have a Gatling silencer and a heavy C cannon. Also, I will see how the greatsword is working, and if it's casting Sanctuary, what is adding to the defense. First, let's compare how is shooting against infantry. And here you can see that I put the different combinations of the Dreadknight and I compare them to the strike squads and to the purgation. As we expected, purgation squads are much better than the Dreadknight in shooting, but the advantage of the Dreadknight is that he can move and shoot, and we expect have advantages in other fields. So we will say that against light infantry, purgation is much better, especially if they remain stationary than the Dreadknight. Also, if we look at the Dreadknight itself, we see that the C cannon or the silencer is slightly better than the C cannon against light infantry, and is the other way around against heavy infantry. We also can see that combining the two is boosting the shooting quite a lot. So I think it's very recommended to have both weapons on the Dreadknight. When we combine the two weapons, then Dreadknight is better than the strike squads. If we don't combine them, a Dreadknight will be at the same level of the strike squads, and even the strike squad with C cannon and remaining stationary will be better than the Dreadknight. So, conclusion is shooting is not the strongest part. Shooting against infantry is not the strongest part of the Dreadknight, but if we combine silencer and C cannon, is quite strong. If we look now at the shooting capacity against monsters, it's similar of what we have seen against infantry. Purgation squad is better, but here we see that the Dreadknight is better than the strike squads, even if they remain stationary. And this is because the Dreadknight have more heavy shooting that is working better against high toughness than the stone bolters of the strike squads. So, and especially what is very dangerous now from the Dreadknight is that the silencer is a force weapon. So if you activate the force, you can kill very easily any monstrous creature that is in front of you. So the Dreadknight can be a very fast way to bring down a monster creature. So Dreadknight is a quite solid choice when we try to shoot against monsters and flying monsters creatures. If we look now at the shooting to vehicles, we see that the Dreadknight is also quite a solid choice. Of course, again, purgation squads are stronger if they remain stationary, but we have to take into account that C cannon have range 24 inches, but the Dreadknight is quite a solid choice, being better than the strike squads or at the same level, depending if they move or not, and being better than Terminator squads against vehicles in shooting. So it's quite a solid choice. Of course, here the C cannon is better than the silencer. Silencer have strength 4, only can damage vehicles of armor 10, while the C cannon with the strength 7 plus rending have the capacity to penetrate the armor of armor 13 and 14. So it's quite a solid choice, have some opportunities, and now with the new rules that you can do focused fire and then is salvo 3-6 instead of blast, is making this weapon much flexible and stronger, especially against vehicles and against monsters. So overall, shooting with the purgation is better, but we see that Dreadknight is not far from the points of the purgation squads, and it's better than the strike squads and the Terminators. Especially to have a good firepower, we need to combine both weapons. So I will say that for the cost points, it's worth to invest in the Gatling silencer plus the heavy C cannon to have quite a strong shooting platform that is moving, and we will see later on that is also strong in close combat and is very resilient. Now let's make a look on the resistance of the unit, and here we see that in resistance is where Dreadknight is excelling on top of the, or compared to Power Armor Marines and Terminator Marines. As you can see, this is normalized by the points, so it's divided by the number of points and multiplied by 100. We see that for the same cost points, Terminators will resist half than the Dreadknight. And the only weak point, or the main weak point, is if we are shot by anti-tank weapons. Then the advantage of the Dreadknight is bring down, because the extra toughness is not giving anything, and the armor 2+ is not adding any value, because normally these weapons have a strength 8, 9, 10, AP 1 or 2. So in that case, it's very important that you activate Sanctuary, or you are undercover when you have in front a high number of anti-tank weapons. If what you have in front is a strength 7, AP 4, like autocannons, or strength 6 and high AP, then the Dreadknight is still quite strong and is able to resist quite number of shots. So here we can see what is the ability in close combat of the Dreadknight. As we can see, Terminators are much better than the Dreadknight, and the main reason is because the offensive power of the Dreadknight is not that big. In assault, when you assaulting, you have 5 attacks, and the next turn you will have 4 attacks. If you're fighting a unit that have same weapon skill than you and is not strength, because you have weapon skill 4, so it's very easily to be fighting other units with weapon skill 4. Most of the time you will only do 2 hits that will be transformed if you are like in 2 wounds. If they don't have any invulnerable save, in that case the wounds will go down. So I think Greatsword is a good addition. It's 10 points, but it's adding 1 extra attack to you. At the end, what is adding is an extra attack, because most likely you will miss 1, so this 1 that you miss is you will repeat it. It's like adding an extra attack. When I did the calculation, is equivalent to adding 0.99 attacks, so almost 1. So here we see why the stats in offensive are improving, and in defense is also improving, and it's normalized, so the cost of points is taken into account. So we pass from 27 to 30, making round figures. The thing we have to take into account when we are fighting with the Dreadknight in close combat is that in the second in the next turn you will have 4 attacks. If you are fighting Marines, for example, when you assault 10 Marines, in the first turn you will hit 3, for example. If you don't have anything to repeat your attacks, you will normally hit 3. You will kill 3 Marines, so you still have 7 to kill. Even if they run and you catch them, they will stack in combat with you. So if you then kill 2 per turn or 2 per phase, you will need 1.5 additional turns more, so you will get stack 10 turns to kill 10 Marines. 10 turns, 4 turns to kill 10 Marines, more or less. So if you want to minimize this time, it's good to have the Greatsword, and then you will add 1, most likely as average you will add an additional kill Marine on that part. So I think Greatsword is quite a good addition to the Dreadknight. Also, it's important to take into account that the Demon Hammer and the Greatsword are force weapons, so you can activate the force if you are fighting monstrous creatures and then kill the monstrous creature or the character in just 1 hit. Normally any character will die because you have a strength 10 against toughness 5 or 4, you will instant kill it. But if you are fighting a monstrous creature that have toughness 6 or toughness 7, that is the normal, then you will need to activate the force and to instant kill this monstrous creature. So I think having force for that monstrous creature is good, especially if you are going to face demons or tyrannids. Now, if we look at the capacity of damaging vehicles in assault, we see that the capacity is quite good. It's not as good as the Terminators, Maybe it's not as good, especially against light vehicles like the strike squads, but in average is good. So we have to think that this normalized, so this is the number of hull points you will remove for 100 points. So most likely any light vehicle will be killed in just one assault of the Dreadknight. For example, if you're assaulting a vehicle of armor 10, and it's normally most of the vehicles have armor 10 at the back, you will have 5 attacks. So you will hit with 3 most likely, and these 3 will cause a hull point. So as average, you will remove 3 hull points, meaning that most of the times you will kill a vehicle in just one assault. Also, if you are assaulting heavy vehicles, you are going to be strong, and most likely you will remove 1 or 2 hull points from a heavy vehicle. And here I'm meaning vehicles that have armor 13 or armor 14 at the back. Is quite strong in that case. So it's a good option. Also, you can try to remove 1 or 2 hull points in shooting and then end up the vehicle in the assault. So to conclude this video, I want to do a little bit of wrap up. So Dreadknights are a very good option because they have a high resistance, they have quite a good shooting when you have silencer and C cannon. It's good in close combat, and here I will recommend always to have one force weapon, especially if you are expecting to face tyrannies or demons. And you can use challenge to kill enemy characters, and this is quite important. That is and this part looks stupid, but for example, if you're assaulting 10 marines with the sergeant with the power fist, the first thing you have to do is to issue a challenge and kill this sergeant. Once you kill this sergeant, these space marines more likely will not do any damage to you, although they can use the codex, but when I did this calculation, the chances of doing any damage is very low. The watchouts of the Dreadknight, the weak points, we have to look, we have to be careful if the enemy have a lot of anti-vehicle weapons that have a strength 8, 9, 10, AP 2 or 1. We have also to be careful with the big blocks of infantry that cannot be broken in close combat. For example, if you are assaulting a block of 30 zombies, plague zombies, you are going to get stuck there. You are not going to move from there. They're fearless, okay, you kill 2, 3, 4 per turn. You need to kill 30 to get out of this close combat. So you have to be careful on the big blocks of infantry. Don't assault them. Try to disseminate them in shooting. You will do more damage in shooting than in close combat. Also, you have to be careful with the big blocks of infantry that have anti-tank or weapons that have high strength and low AP. For example, if you are assaulting a unit that have a lot of melta bombs, be careful. If you are assaulting a unit that have power feats that are not under character, you also have to be careful, because you will not be able to kill these weapons, and these weapons will hit you in return. So these are the watchouts, but I think overall a very strong choice from the Dreadknights. Very good resistance, is good in shooting, is good in close combat, and is quite a good addition to the army. So I would recommend to have 1 or 2 in your army when you play. And that's all for this video. So I hope you find it informative. Please leave your comments, like if you like it, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel if you want to see more, and look in my videos if you want to see reviews of other units. Up to now I did the review on the Purgation, Interceptor, Strike, also on the Purifier and the Terminator squads. I will keep doing more reviews, and I will use the tool that you have seen here to compare different units from the different codex. Also, you can find in my videos, if you have more interest on how I do the calculations or what is the base of this tool, in case you are interested, or you can contact me or drop me a message, and I will be very happy to answer. So again, thanks a lot for watching this video, and see you again later. Bye.